In this week's episode of Doc Talk, I'm going to discuss the art of keeping it simple. Hey guys, this is Dr. McFarland and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be a fun-filled week, and today is Monday, so that means it's Doc Talk. And I really want to discuss something that I've seen on the forums the last few days. At times I find myself clicking around the different groups on Facebook, and I'll see a total newbie come into a group, be like, hey, I just bought such and such, and I have no idea what I'm doing. How do I recreate my analog pedal board? Or how do I set the output levels of this device? Or how do I deal with gain staging? There's a lot of different topics that a beginner needs to know. But the one thing I want you to get out of this whole video is I want you to learn just to keep it simple. And what I mean by that is if you have a brand new unit and you're used to using a real amp, real pedals, getting that amp in the room kind of sound, when you go to a modeling unit like the Headrush or the Helix or even Kemper, Axe Effects, doesn't really matter what it is, you can be very tempted to start adding all these pedals and stuff. And I think it's just best to sit back, maybe add in one amp, one cab, and just get used to that sound, because you're probably going to be listening through either studio monitors or maybe an FR speaker. And it is a slightly different experience because you're so used to having a real amp in the room. The distance from your ear to the speaker, is usually 5 to 10 feet away, and you're used to having that off-axis or on-axis sound translate to your ears a certain way. But when you're using modeling amplifiers, you're actually getting a modeled amp, a virtual amplifier. You're also getting a cab and a virtual microphone that can be set to different distances and also on or off axis depending on the unit that you're using. This is going to give you a very direct, in-your-face kind of sound, and you may not be used to that. So that's really step number one. I just want you to clear out all the clutter in your mind about, okay, I got to start adding all these effects and whatnot when you don't even really know how to use it yet. So you just start off with one amp, one cab, choose a microphone, probably like a SM57. That's primarily what you'd be using in a live situation anyways. And just really get used to that sound. So step number 2 is after you've listened to how an amp and cab sound, now I just want you to add one overdrive pedal. That's it, nothing fancy. And have it set the low gain, maybe like a medium gain-ish kind of sound. And just get used to that crunch and that when you dig into the strings, hear how the amplifier responds to the overdrive pushing the front end, and get used to that sound. Now the third step, I want you to add a very, very simple reverb. Okay? This could be a hall reverb, you can have a spring reverb. So just add in a reverb, set the level maybe around 5 to 10%, nothing too wishy-washy, just have it set to where it's just nice and it's present, okay? So that way you got an amp, a cab, an overdrive, and then you have a very simple delay. Step 4 is I want you to add some kind of delay in there. Maybe you're used to using a deluxe memory man from Electro Harmonics, or you have the timeline from Strymon. Whatever it is, just pick something. Pick the most simplest delay that you can find in your unit and just throw that into your signal chain. And then, maybe you like dotted eighth delays or chord note delays, okay? Doesn't really matter, just whatever you're used to using. And try to set it up the way you normally would have it. And then just play around with that sound for, half a day, a week, whatever it takes to get your ears accustomed to the sound that you're hearing, because it is going to be a little bit different than your normal amp analog pedal board setup. All right. And then step 5, I want you to now take that rig and I want you to maybe copy and paste that to another preset, or on the Headrush you can do something like save as a new rig. So that way you're not changing anything about the first initial rig you've made. But now you can take the second rig, which is an exact copy of the first rig, and now you can kind of alter some things about it. Maybe you want the reverb to be really long, or you want the delays to kind of ramp up and have a lot of feedback. Or maybe you just want to crank up the amp a little bit more and get some more dirt and overdrive. So that would be a great example of maybe a clean amp with a little bit of tube screamer in front that you can kick in and out. So that way the second rig could be a little more lush, maybe some more, maybe like an ambient kind of tone. Or if you're a hard rock player or like a blues rock player, maybe you just want to have your second rig be a full on, gain monster. Just crank the gain up on the amp and you're pretty much good to go. And then from that point, once you're used to hearing that sound, now you can just go in, start creating different rigs based on the different sounds that you like. So maybe you're in a cover band and you need certain tones for like a Journey song or Bon Jovi or something. I don't know, whatever you do. And now that you have a good foundation and basis for setting up your tones, now you have a better idea of what is possible with your unit, and you can go ahead and start creating those tones. So, but at the end of the day, don't get too caught up in firmware updates and all this other stuff. Just take the unit and just keep it as simple as you can. If you have not already, please subscribe down below and click on the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I release new content, which is going to be every day of the week pretty much till further notice. I do have a website called drmcfarlandstudios.com. You'll find a lot of courses that you can go deeper into music, gear, and recording. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below letting me know what setup you have, and if you have any struggles or questions, I'll be happy to hear from you. So I'm Dr. McFarland. I will see you in the next video. Keep rocking.